the city. What is going on, St. Louis City fans? Welcome back to another episode of Soul of the City, brought to you by First Touch Media. My name's Riley. I'm joined today by Muhammad and Ian. Say hello.
Hello.
What's going on?
Good work. Obviously, we haven't had an episode in a little while. We've missed a few games in between. Seattle, probably the most notable one. I mean, I guess we didn't do an episode after the Vancouver thrashing either. It's been a rough season, and we've been on this podcast preaching that for the whole time. It's been difficult. We're very busy people in our own lives, and we are extremely excited to bring you this episode today because it's been so long. So if you're listening to this, we want to start by thanking you for existing and continuing to give us your support. Obviously, last night we played against Sporting Kansas City on July the 20th. Played to a 1-1 draw, which honestly, I mean, yeah, it's the summary of St. Louis's season. We can't win. We either tie or we lose, and that's about it. But if you want to look at it on the positive end of the spectrum, at least we're getting a point out of Children's Mercy Park now.
Yeah, I was about to say, usually the results there haven't been so good. I don't know, man. This I was hoping last night would be a real turning point in the season, and I'm not sure that I feel that that's the case after watching the performance, because I do think we were the second best team in that game and came out with a point, luckily, due to the most unlikely of heroes in Nook v. Thorson scoring what was kind of a wonder goal on his part. But yeah, we got to see some new signings. I'm not sure how you guys feel about Hackworth, but I'd kind of like to talk about him a little bit today and the decision making on the squad choice. But I don't know. Let's get into it by going over kind of the games that we missed. So we missed the Vancouver thrashing. Not a whole lot to talk about. Brian White owns us. Yep. I don't get it because I don't think he's that gifted of a player really. When I watch him, I'm like, I don't know. They're just a lot better squad than us, team depth wise and everything. So it was a rough showing.
Bro almost scored back-to-back hat tricks against us.
Yeah.
3 goals into 2 goals, and then we lose 4-1 at home. Yeah, that was a crazy game, and it was the first time probably in the history of City Park that we saw so many people before the final whistle exiting the stadium. I put together a pretty sick Marcel Hartel edit, and in that edit, I used a clip of so many fans emptying the stadium at the 80th minute because we were down 4-1. It's crazy to think how far we've fallen.
I think that, no matter what in sports, it's hard to turn something around kind of instantaneously. But I've preached about it before on the podcast. St. Louis is known for making it known that we're not happy with what's happening at whatever, no matter the team. If they're not doing well, we don't show. And leaving early is a kind of show of our displeasure with the squad, the way they're performing. And I think they've kind of reacted in kind by getting rid of Carnell, making quite a few signings. They tried to be a little bit proactive with it because I think that was all kind of done before we're seeing the walkouts and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it needs to turn around fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we go from losing 4-1 to Vancouver into traveling to Seattle, losing 2-0 there. Fun fact of the day, Tim Parker is the leading goal scorer in that matchup. Tim Parker own goals.
3 own goals.
Is the leading goal scorer. We were met with a nice ratio graphic from the Seattle Sounders on that one.
I couldn't be mad at it, honestly.
You really can't.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for in the league. Some ratios and just getting made fun of. We have lost a lot of games, so
at this point in the season, I saw today, after the draw with Sporting Kansas City, that we are now mathematically under the maximum points that any team in the MLS has ever made it into 9th place. So that's just looking at averages. Obviously, some massive loss streaks could happen in 8 and 9 in the playoff picture right now. We've got Minnesota and I forget who's in 9th.
8th is Portland, 9th is Minnesota.
Yeah, so honestly, Portland are pretty decent. Maybe Minnesota can really choke hard and we can win out the rest of the season. But mathematically, this season's pretty much looking like wraps from the playoff perspective.
I think this season's over. I think we just play our youngsters and just, figure out who our new head coach is and figure out what we're doing next year because, honestly, I don't really care if we make the playoffs. It's not like we're going to win it, realistically. We're really bad away, and playing 2 away games is not going to, help us at all. So I think we just call it a season, integrate our new players, find our head coach, find a system to play starting next year, and start, thinking about next year. It is a project. I say usually give projects 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't show nothing for it in 5 years, Lutz needs a talking to of what we're going to do.
No, I think Lutz has to go in 5 years if we're not performing well. Like, the first year, fine, whatever, it happened. I think it was mostly just a fluke in the sense that, like, people didn't know what we were going to do, and we were also just riding high on vibes basically the whole year, just banging in goals that we didn't really deserve to be scoring, and the stats kind of bear that out in terms of our XG and how much we overperformed it. It was like 15 goals over the course of the season, which is pretty ridiculous, and, this year we're kind of paying the price for that. But, yeah, I'm a little disappointed in the fact that there's not really any talks of coaching candidates going on right now. Lutz does seem like the kind of guy that's like, yeah, we're just going to, like, leave the interim manager in, and then at the end of the season we'll do an actual, like, coaching search and kind of get the people that we want, see what everyone else does, that kind of thing. But I don't know. It's sad to see our second season go down so poorly after our first one went so well.
Yeah, we're quickly looking like the reincarnation of Austin FC, and if we continue this trend, we're on track to miss the playoffs next year too. I don't think we're going to end up quite like Austin. Obviously, they've stuck with their manager since their club's inception, which I think is a good sign for St. Louis that we were willing to move on from Carnell and bring somebody else in. I'm expecting a German manager from Lutz. Truthfully, I think we're trying to run a German ball club here, which excites me. I like the Bundesliga a lot. And
you know what the Germans are? Good at soccer.
Yeah. They're not Americans.
Yeah, but we got plenty of German Americans in St. Louis.
There's some good American coaches in the league too. I think Pat Noonan from St. Louis in Cincinnati is a good coach.
I think Germans are the third
what?
Like populated, like what's the word?
Like
third ethnic group in St. Louis.
Third largest.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or something like that along that line, or the heritage of it.
Sounds about
right.
Well,
the people on the internet would say if you go look at St. Louis City Stadium, that it's mostly German people because of how white our stadium is. That's just one argument I've seen.
All stadiums probably.
Yeah, except maybe on the coast.
Just LAFC.
I was about to say LAFC and maybe Galaxy.
San Diego when they join next year.
Will probably be.
Honestly is kind of scary for us because that's actually good that we brought up San Diego FC because the way that they're planning on building their squad is they would like to be the third California powerhouse.
Yeah,
I think the Western Conference truly is LA Galaxy, LAFC, and I'm fearful that it's going to be the third top team is going to be San Diego.
Yeah, but they don't have any pull. All the players that they're linked with, like the big players, all of them said no.
Yeah.
Well, they got Chucky.
Yeah, do you rate Chucky Lozano?
No.
I think he'll be very good.
I rate him, but I don't think he's. It's like going to be like a Shaqiri type of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good.
He's younger, and in my opinion, Shaqiri's a better player. But
yeah, I feel like
the youth, I think, makes a big difference.
They're going to have a lot of competition, I guess, when it comes to that, since there's already 3 MLS teams looking at all the youth there.
No, all of the good players that want to be in that area of the U.S. are obviously going to end up at LA Galaxy and LAFC if they want to.
Yeah.
Like, those two teams are just going to have more pull than San Diego because it's San Diego versus L.A. Like, if you're in L.A. and you're a star, why would you not?
Meant to be.
I feel bad for San Jose, little brother that no one wants to talk to.
Yeah, it's really sad for them.
Suck. Well, maybe they could get better.
It's so interesting in the MLS with this Western Conference. I really, especially this season, feel like there's only 2 top teams in the Western Conference being LAFC and LA Galaxy, and meanwhile on the East Coast there's way more top level teams. I mean, Miami, Columbus, Cincinnati are miles ahead of most of the Western Conference. I would probably say LA Galaxy and LAFC as well. But yeah, it's interesting. It's not gonna get easier for St. Louis City next season.
I think we're probably going to move eventually to the East. I don't see us being in the West.
Oh, like long term.
With adding another Western team, the most logical team to move to the East would be St. Louis.
Yeah.
And I'm one down for it just because I cannot stay up another 9:30 game.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And deal with that.
Yeah, I think I'd rather stay in the West just because I think that like we've already fostered some rivalries with some of the teams that we're playing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like not that we're, you know, destroying anyone, but I'd say that anytime that we've played Houston, that feels like a rivalry to me, like for us, and then KC obviously. Obviously we would have a bit more to kind of be rivals with in the East.
I think
like,
we already have a rival in the East.
Who?
Chicago.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
I think there's a lot of teams in the East that
we could be rivals with.
Like we already have one, I would say, a city that I hate more than Kansas City.
You hate Chicago more than KC?
Yeah, just because they beat up on us in all the sports other than baseball, really.
Yeah.
So, like KC, like we
Well,
don't.
in football they suck, but
Yeah,
we
but,
also
like,
don't have football anymore. So
I think what's really interesting is that with San Diego joining, MLS is going to be at 30 teams, and I think it's the perfect time to potentially restructure the conferences. I think we should do a Western Conference, a Central Conference, and an Eastern Conference.
You see,
And I think with that, there becomes, because if you think about proximity with St. Louis City, Kansas City is really the only Western Conference team that St. Louis fans can easily make it to.
Yeah.
If we were to create a Central Conference, all of a sudden we could be going to Chicago
And
every
then
year.
all
We could be going to Nashville every
the
year. We could be
Ohio
going
teams,
to Columbus and
yeah.
Cincinnati every year. And I think it would be so... Honestly, St. Louis should be the poster child for making this move because of how well we travel to Kansas City. It's such a great sight for the league to see how many people from St. Louis travel to Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah.
It creates a great atmosphere, and it could be at all of these other teams because they're just as close as Kansas City to us.
yeah, and it's honestly like mind-boggling. I mean, we've made some away trips, but like in Europe, like the longest away trip that a lot of those teams have to make is maybe 8 hours, whereas you're making like a 20-plus hour drive to go to like any of the West Coast teams.
the Schalke Dortmund,
Yeah.
that's a 35-minute drive.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's just like, it's just right all there.
It's just all so like close and convenient, and it's I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
like
get
that
there
idea.
someday in terms of having the easy transit that will allow us to do that in the U.S. But like, you're not going to catch me driving to Cincy on a Wednesday or KC on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get back to the game.
Sure.
John
Take
Bell.
us there. Oh, are we talking about Seattle?
I'd just finish up the Seattle game.
Sure.
Yeah, John Bell. We were hoping to get a little bit of revenge on him, even though he never did anything that was like bad for the club. He was just a bit part player for us, and went to Seattle, and he starts there, and he scored the nail in the coffin goal in this one after Tim Parker's own goal.
Yep.
We looked second best in that game, but I thought we looked better in that one than we did in the Kansas City game. And moving to the Kansas City game,
The lineup changed substantially.
yeah,
In terms of formation.
and I'm not sure I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, so we played like kind of 5 in the back. I guess it was like 3 in the back.
It's like a 3-4-2-1 is
Yeah.
basically what we ended up playing.
Yeah.
And it was Nokvi up top. One of our new signings, Teuchert or Teuchert.
Teuchert.
Dude,
not
how
gonna
like
lie.
they said it like 3 different ways on
We can call him, his nickname's Choo Choo. So we
All
can
right,
call him that.
Choo
Choo choo.
Choo Choo as the and Leuven as kind of like the double pivot attacking midfield, and then John Klein, Akil Watts, Blom and Tautland as like the 4 in like defensive midfield and like providing some width, and then Jay Reed, Parker, and Hebert as the kind of center back trio.
Yeah.
Berkey obviously in goal. He had a fucking crazy save in this one.
Lights out game.
Yeah, he played really well.
They had a XG of 2.1, I think.
Yeah, and we had 0.8. So
0.8. Yeah, they deserve to win, but like fuck them. So
Yep.
we had 2 ties last time we went there.
Yep.
It's looking like next time we go there, it's gonna be a win.
Sniffing a W. And we get to the final game of the season against them will be in St. Louis, which is cool.
I hope we beat the brakes off.
Hopefully
them.
we can beat them and keep them out of
You know
playoffs
what? You know
as
what?
well.
I hope they almost make the playoffs, but they lose to us and just miss out.
Oh, that'd be fire. I'd love that.
yeah, so we play a weird formation.
Yeah.
I was sad to not see Girdwood Reich make the
Starting.
starting lineup. He did make an appearance in this one for a few minutes at the end of the game. He subbed on really late.
Honestly, it kind of makes sense because JGR came in a few weeks after. Like,
Late.
Choo-Choo's been training with the team
For a while.
a little bit longer than JGR, so it makes sense.
Which to me is kind of weird because he looked a bit slow and like leggy while he was playing, and I was like, "That's." I mean, obviously, if you don't have like game experience, you gotta ramp up to the speed and like fitness level. But he didn't look bad, but he didn't look great. I definitely enjoyed. There were parts of the first half where he would pick up the ball and just start dribbling at people, and like we don't really have that in our team,
especially with Celio out.
Yeah, and so that was nice to see. It didn't always look that pretty, but he was doing it, so it's good to see. We miss out on Hartel in this one.
Yeah.
He had travel issues, I think.
The Microsoft outage really fucked everything
Also-
up.
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
he just-
I bet he's still on vacation, bro. He's like this season.
No, he's flying here today. The St.
Yeah,
Louis,
he's coming in
St.
today.
Louis community is insane
They're
with how
tracking
well
him.
they track. Like, they found his flight, and they're like, yeah, he's fucking inbound.
That happens all over Twitter. They literally, like, multiple fan bases are like, why is our plane here? Getting here?
just like
Like, waiting on this guy. They'll wait in the airport. Like,
Are you
wait,
serious?
Yeah.
That is
They'll
crazy,
wait on
man.
the airport, and they have, like, welcome signs for, like, when Berkey came, they did that. A lot of the players, when they come in, they're like, welcome to St. Louis. We have a nice airport.
no, we
don't.
Really?
It was nice at some point,
No,
but
really.
not so much
Hey,
anymore.
we're supposed to be getting some renovations on that.
Yeah.
But just to touch on kind of the lineup again and Hackworth, like we've been. You said you want to talk about Hackworth, and I think one of my biggest gripes so far has been his hesitancy to start Jose Kojima.
Yep.
I think it's really surprising. So he started against Seattle, only played 45 minutes, and it was kind of my expectation that, okay, well, we'll sub him out in the
He'll
Seattle
start the
game,
next game
to start him against Kansas City and get the most out of him there. But he was scratched from the starting lineup. Then he subbed on in this game, and I thought looked really well. Drew 2 or 3 fouls, like looked good.
He did look good. He always impresses me.
He's a workhorse.
Yeah.
He's exactly what the team, I think, would thrive on, is that kind of midfield engine.
Yeah.
And Hackworth has not been giving him the opportunities, which has really surprised me.
Hackworth, I'm not that he like needs to know how to do this job, because it's not his job. He's just kind of filling in.
I
But
hope it's not his job.
yeah,
It won't-
I
it won't
agree.
be.
Because
I hope
I don't
not.
think he's up to the task from what I've seen. We did look good in the first half pressing, like maybe like first 20 minutes. We actually looked pretty dangerous on the press. We were kind of forcing Kansas City to do what we wanted them to, and they couldn't figure out their kind of possession style around our press, which was good to see. But eventually they did, and they started to really kind of dominate this game.
Yep.
Which is why I'm not super optimistic for the rest of the season, because Kansas City's bad. Like, they are outright just bad. We are worse, but they are bad. And so if we were going to turn it around, this is the game where we needed to get like 3 points against a rival, spark that momentum and get moving in the right direction. That's why I'm super disappointed we didn't have Hartel, because I think look, the hype train's fucking real, and if he doesn't show up and play the way I think he's going to, I'm going to be really sad, because I'm hoping he just saves us, man. He made the edit. I need my fucking
on the.
savior.
I'm glad you guys appreciated the edit because I felt like it was underappreciated on the internet.
I love the edit.
I love the edit. Yeah, I was on the what's it called, St. Pauli
Yeah.
thing because they were talking like on their Reddit, and they like kind of surprised he left.
Yeah.
Mostly, but also a lot of their players left or got poached. Like their manager got poached already. 36 American guy. Technically.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Don't say that to the Germans. They don't like calling him American. But yeah, they're like, it's kind of a big blow missing this guy. They're most likely going to get relegated again now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, most teams, like, it's very difficult to come up and, like,
stay up.
Have all these players overperform expectations, and then you as kind of a small club have to, like, sell on to kind of,
They're trying to do a nice Union Berlin type of thing.
Yeah.
But that's
it's not going to happen, probably.
Especially after losing all that.
There's one other thing I want to touch on about Hack, and honestly, I think it was the defining moment of this game. It was 70th minute. Hackworth decides to sub out Totland. So we were still playing the 5 in the back kind of dealio. Totland really wasn't on defensive duty that much.
Which I don't like.
We sub off. He played some defense, but he was far more
just like a winger or like a right mid. That's not his position.
We sub off Totland for Josh Yarrow, and I think this was the defining moment because minutes later, Hebert was playing right center back up until that moment, and Kansas City's equalizing goal is literally miscommunication. Hebert thought he was still playing center back, bumps into Yarrow, and it leaves a Kansas City player wide open on the left, and it's an easy back post cross. Fucking Willie Agata just dunk at the back post, and it was just so preventable if we just continued to leave the same defensive line out there. We changed to 4 in the back, and it bites us. And we've seen that with Hackworth, that he likes to just like sub on center backs,
chuck on defenders,
just like totally break up any defensive chemistry we were building in the game.
And I don't know that he has a lot of options other than center backs. Like, I mean, he could have brought on Girdwood. Like, I would have probably liked that more than bringing on Yarrow in that moment, just because he's like young, wants to prove himself.
Wenzel.
Like, we're winning against our rival. Wenzel, I don't know. Wenzel, Yarrow, I think that's kind of like a coin flip in my head.
I think the only reason I bring, and I'll let you finish, is just that Yarrow, I believe, is going to be on his way out at the end of the season.
I think
whereas Hartel, I mean, Wenzel is going to continue to play.
Continue to be on the squad. Yeah, I also would have liked to have seen Joyner come into the game at some point. They're just. I understand that we suck, and getting a point or 3 points. Like we had 3 points in that moment when he made those substitutions. So he's like, okay, let's just pack it in, do whatever we can to get something out of this, and like get the hell out of Dodge. But we suck, man. What's the point of like playing for a draw? Like a draw doesn't help us. It doesn't really do anything for us. Like Kansas City's the team directly above us. They have 1 point on us and a game in hand, or we have a game in hand on them. We need the points. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
Especially because we stink. Like, there's no, like, realistically, we lose again this week. I'm like, well, we suck. Like,
well, I mean, you say so
because there's no urgency. That's the issue. There's no like I don't know who said it. I think it was Leuven was talking about relegation. It's like, all right, I'm at the bottom. We suck. Next year's, we're almost done with the season. Like, why am I trying? Like, there's not that much is going to be difference.
But that, I think, gives even more reason to just go for it. There's no punishment. Like, Hackworth's not going to – I don't think he was ever going to get the manager job. So him getting a draw in Kansas City is not going to change his fate at all.
Yeah, but he
put on some youngsters and let them run.
Like, he could get the manager job if he proved something in the last couple, like actually did something.
Yeah, but since he's come in, he's not proved like anything.
No
other than
urgency
not
for
that good.
No urgency for actually performing well. There's no like, we lose, that we get like a top 3 pick in the draft now, which we could find a good talent or decent talent.
We already did. Kojima is good, man. Like
Very
he
good.
is
so
good.
So there's no. It's for me. I'm already checked out of the season. Like.
Yeah,
I think
mentally kind of gone.
Think, I'm not going to wish for the impossible. I like to be happy. I just don't like. I'm not gonna go
Hope
in
for the
there.
best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah, it's just like I know we're not making. And in my head, we're not making the playoffs.
And if we
when,
do,
when Carnell
miracle.
got sacked, because I would have let him ride out the season, then sack him.
I thought so too.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. But once he got sacked, I know what they're saying. Season's done. This season's over because the assistant manager. It's not like we're bringing someone out to make new ideas. This dude has similar ideas to Carnell.
Well, I'm sure he's just continuing whatever system Carnell
and he's like
is using.
like 55.
Hack.
So he's not. It's not like he's gonna
Not
bring
some young up and coming whatever. He's
And he has no drip, unfortunately.
no aura too.
Very low aura. On
and his
the,
name
on
is
the lad.
Hack.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's a cool nickname.
Hack.
Hack is cool.
What's
Yeah,
his
like you can't hack it.
yeah, Hackenbottom from Sheffield. Same thing. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So
Season's wraps.
Season's over.
season's wraps.
Up until. So here we are. Yet again, since St. Louis City joined MLS created a brand new tournament.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Brand new.
There's a trophy on the table still for St. Louis, if you can believe it.
It's rigged for Messi. Don't worry.
He's out.
Yeah.
He's out for
True,
a couple months.
I forgot.
I think, and
Crybaby.
it's so interesting because obviously here in St. Louis we have a lot of pride for the Open Cup, and this Leagues Cup has been detrimental to the publicity of the Open Cup, to the overall sporting merit of the Open Cup. And a lot of people in St. Louis, the supporters groups, long-term standing fans of, the STL FC days are boycotting this tournament. And it's kind of a weird situation because this tournament is going to give us the opportunity to see our new signings in a competitive sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hartel
will be playing.
I think Hackworth is going to try to win this tournament. And I know that the people of St. Louis are mad about what's happened with the Open Cup, and I know we specifically we're planning on boycotting Leagues Cup and not watching, not participating, not doing a lot of content around it. But I think with where we're at right now, we really need any sign of progress, life. And really the only opportunity we have for the remainder of the season is this tournament.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in a weird spot right now.
Yeah. I would just say go for it. I think seasons are over, but take it game by game, make it to the next round, and try to win it.
I mean, look, we have a lot better opportunity than we did last year. Last year we had
Columbus Crew and Club America.
And Club America, who are like the two best teams in the respective leagues.
And
against us. And
this year we have
played
FC Juarez, who are one of the worst Liga MX sides, and FC Dallas, who are not in the playoff picture either.
Yeah,
currently, I mean they're closer than us, but so there's good opportunity for St. Louis City to progress in a tournament. It just sucks that this tournament has really tried to kind of decimate like sporting heritage in the United States.
I just don't get it because I do get it. It's Americans trying to reinvent the fucking wheel. Like, what European leagues do a fucking tournament with like one or two of the other leagues? None of them. You don't see La Liga teams and French league teams playing each other in some random fucking tournament.
It's called the preseason.
Yeah, it's called like preseason, and then there's this thing called the Champions League, which we have that already.
Yeah, we
so
don't
you
take that
need to do
seriously.
Nope.
No, which is something that culturally should change here in America because that is our biggest tournament. That is what everyone should want to win at the beginning of the year. But the Open Cup is basically like the FA Cup. The oldest standing traditional tournament that we have going on, and it's, anyone from the U.S.'s, I don't remember exactly what leagues, but anybody can basically, get in, participate, and win it. But you're going to play all of the teams in the U.S. And that is, like, bro, we're here to support the U.S.
That is top sporting merit, is fucking playing all divisions, all walks of life, playing the beautiful game against each other.
Any given Sunday, man.
So we can see these young talents or people who I guess are underappreciated or overlooked.
I think
actually play in these big games against big teams and show what they're made of and what they can do.
are there problems with the Open Cup in its current form, even like last year's form? Yes.
There's a problem with
there's problems, but it's problems that the MLS creates.
Yeah.
I think it's like, sure, you don't want your players in the MLS, people who are making all of this money, playing on fields where the conditions are poor. But to grow the game in this country, you have to send your top teams to go play at these lower division fields to show fans of the local game what the precipice of U.S. soccer is supposed to be.
Yeah, what it's going to look like.
But Don Garber refuses to acknowledge any of it and says these fucking poor scrubs cannot host games because their amenities are shit and we hate poor people.
We don't need them.
That's what he says.
We don't need them to host a game. They can go to the bigger club if necessary.
Play at the MLS stadium. Imagine your tiny local club beating an MLS team.
Yeah.
Like, that would be insane.
I just think it's even more beneficial if the MLS teams go there. But, I mean, this year with...
It's like we can have a whole Coventry thing from last year.
Yeah.
Where they kind of got robbed at the end of it, but they did make it to all the way to the semifinals and almost made it to the finals.
Almost beating the biggest English club historically.
Yeah. And those moments in time is like, that's what makes soccer the beautiful game. And it makes it better than most because it's supposed to be a game that anyone can play, and regardless how old, whatever you do,
Economic
you can play this game.
Yep.
Realistically, I think they're going to trash the Open Cup because that's not what America believes in.
I think they should scrap it
like
all.
They don't have pro-rel, so they don't respect the leagues that are lower than them. So they're not going to participate in some tournament that's going to benefit someone beneath them.
It's
like,
because
that's just not the American way, sadly.
It's because the MLS is a separate entity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then what's it called? Like
Right. There's no overarching.
In England, they have the
FIFA.
They have the
UEFA,
FA,
FA, like
who
sitting
control
over
most
everything.
of the things, and like the Premier League is mainly focused on itself and how to grow itself.
But it's still
But they
beneath the
support-
But
FA.
it's still beneath the what's it called? Because they have all these clubs under them that they need to, establish. Because they know the more better teams that they have, guess what? A better product and more people will watch you.
But
more money for viewership.
There's a reason.
Like, Apple TV will pay you more money if the product is better.
There's a reason
and
the
more
Premier
people are
League
watching.
generates twice as much as their second.
Yeah.
$7 billion a year in revenue compared to La Liga, which is $3 billion.
Yeah.
It knows how to do it, and I don't know why we just don't see it or copy.
Well,
or something.
you know what? Sporting Kansas City fans will tell you that the league that their club was instrumental in creating is perfect and there's no flaws, and we should thank them for all of their hard work in creating this great, beautiful, big, shiny, cool league. When in reality, it's the most fucking mediocre, like, amateur league in the entire world. Like, sure, we have great players. Sure, when you compare fucking Panama, yeah, okay, we probably have better talent than a Panamanian league. But the sporting merit does not fucking exist compared to leagues around the world in the MLS. It's fucking sick, and these Sporting Kansas City frauds will fucking tell you differently. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Let's take a breather.
I think
Sorry.
I think the
all
MLS
good.
just has a problem, and its problem is it doesn't know what it wants to be. I think it's you either pick you want to be European or be American. Because if you want to be an American sport, guess what? We don't need a three-legged playoff game. Have divisions. Have something. Make it like the NFL. And guess what? A lot of people would probably be more excited to see, hey, St. Louis, KC, playoff game. Only one game. That's it.
Like, we're the 1 seed, they're the 8
They
seed.
see-
or they're the 1 seed, we're the 8
in
seed.
Columbia, Missouri at the fucking Mizzou Stadium, and
No,
you pack that bitch.
No, it's whoever's the higher seed. You
They're
get that
a
game at home,
seed.
bro.
Okay, yeah, okay, maybe I'm... Okay,
If we're doing
for
it
a
the
regular
American
seed-
way, it's
Yeah, that's
that's
fair.
like the...
That's fair.
It's,
That's
like,
fair.
I
I'm
think-
thinking of cultural
I think
cool
the
things we could
MLS
do.
Yeah,
should
we're not looking for culture.
should
We're
copy
looking for
the
fucking death.
I want money.
rivalry. Yeah, money.
money. MLS should copy the NFL and how they run their stuff, not like the commercial and stuff.
I think they
How
should
they
just
run their
stop
league.
trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, if you want to run a soccer league well, look at the ones that are run really well and do it like they do it.
And if you don't want to do that and just be an American and just have it brain dead and just do what you got to do.
And just do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah,
then do it the way you want to do it. And
exciting, fast pace, whatever.
And they will unapologetically throw out the Open Cup. We're never going to have Pro Rel. We'll have one-legged playoff races to the MLS Cup.
Yep.
And then lower divisions of soccer in this country will
disappear.
Die, and there's going to be fucking nothing.
Yeah, well, it's either that or we're in the middle ground arguing about something.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something to argue about, so let's get past it.
I don't want to get past it. I want
to yell.
Actually, we should start our own league. That's it.
I want to give a quick shout out to a player that I think has been unfairly maligned on this channel. Nokvi Thoresen, I was not familiar with your game. I think he's actually kind of, he's finally getting a run in this team because Klaus is out. He's playing striker. It's not his given position, and he's definitely got his flaws, but 3 goals in 7 games. This isn't the exact same kind of production we saw from, a fan favorite here on the channel of like Joa coming into the team last year and producing when we lost all of our other strikers. But we're seeing a player that none of us thought was capable of scoring even a goal in this league.
Yeah.
And it's not always the prettiest thing in the world. Like, even on this goal, I thought he, broke his leg. Cooked himself into oblivion, and then he stands up and bangs it top 90, man. And I just wanted to give him a little shout-out, because we definitely have said some things on this podcast that
are harsh.
Maybe a little harsh. He's a human being. Shout out, Danny. Gotta remember that at the end of the day.
What empathy is, and humanity is always a good thing to have.
Yep, we lose that sometimes.
That goal honestly summarized what I feel about him. A clumsy ass dude that just is gonna try no matter what.
Yeah,
and he did. He proved everyone wrong. We yelled at. Where did you go yesterday?
Urban Chestnut.
Urban Chestnut. Riley yelled really loud. A kid started crying. It was
when we scored the goal, we freaked out. And
don't bring your kids to fucking bars. What is wrong with you people?
And dogs.
Hey man, you might have a kid someday and
it
like,
ain't going to the fucking bar. I'll tell you that.
All right.
Yeah, because if I see a guy like Riley, I'm not taking my kid
anywhere near him. So Nukvi scores a nice low goal in this one. We already talked about the Willie Agata goal.
We talked about Roman Berkey and his power.
Incredible saves and max aura.
I want to mention one thing.
Between the sticks.
Hebert took a vacation going to Copa America and did not play just to come back and looked tired and looked like he couldn't run and looked like he ate too much poutine somewhere.
I think he's one of those players that we keep thinking I don't know if it's the manager or whatever, but he's a center back. He's not a right back, and he's not a right wing back. So let's stop playing him out of position, because he looked fine in that game until we decided to change the formation to where we had Tim Parker, Reed, Yarrow, and Hebert all on the pitch, and Hebert mismarks someone wide because that's not where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we get scored on.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
He's perfectly serviceable at center back in the MLS, in my opinion. If he is our number 3 or 4 option on the depth chart in that position, I'm perfectly happy with that. But I don't think that he should be playing right back.
Yeah.
One other thing I would like to... There's also 2 players that I think Twitter has kind of... At least from the takes that I was seeing, I saw a lot of Jabulo Blom praising from last night. I think he's lost a lot of his confidence. I can't quite describe it. He doesn't seem as comfortable with playing out of the back as he did last season. He had some cheap giveaways in this game, and people on Twitter were saying that it was like his comeback game, and I didn't feel like that in the slightest.
I didn't think he was outright bad, but I didn't think he was good either. I thought it was a pretty middling performance from him, but I also think it's just so difficult for a defensive midfielder that wants to, break up play and cut off passing lanes to do that when we're just under fire for 80 minutes of a game. Like we were just playing dump and chase that entire time.
Yeah.
And that makes your life really hard as a midfielder, that your job is to just get the ball back. It's like, well, every time I get it back, we just kick it 80 yards that way and fucking restart my job all over again.
And everyone on this podcast, our listeners, know that we are number one Blom
fans.
stands.
Yeah.
And I with JGR coming in, with Durkin coming in this season, he's had more to prove, and it's been unfortunate that his product hasn't quite been what it was last season. So I'm hopeful that, obviously, I think he's now into an option year. At the end of this season, I don't know if we're gonna re-sign him. I hope that we do, and I hope we can figure him out. But we're gonna have to wait and see. And then I've been seeing a lot of Leuven disrespect on the Twitter timeline, which has truly surprised me. Leuven is our best outfield player by a country mile.
Yeah, and similar thing. Like Leuven's a player that wants to pick up the ball deep with time and space to. Like, he's not an intricate, like, playmaker in terms of making quick passes and, like, runs and, you know, the tiki-taka style. He is a guy that wants to pick up the ball deep and play, like, a flighted ball to a corner. Like, he is a great deep-lying playmaker, but he is not, like, the way that we're playing last night is Leuven would rather not be on the pitch. Like, he is just, I could tell he's just constantly frustrated with the fact that every time he looks up, he's having to just hope and pray that he hits this ball right into the path of Nokvi Thorensen. Because that's basically what the plan was last night, was win it back, get it to Leuven, hope he's not getting pressed by two people, and he can play a ball to Nokvi.
And Sam Adeniran's now in Philadelphia, and
he got the number 9 shirt already.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I just think it's just surprising, like, if this was how we were going to play with Nokvi at striker, what's the difference between playing Sam Adeniran at striker?
I think there was a fallout probably with management, ownership, and Sam.
Mismanaged very
also,
badly.
I think we, like, Carnell specifically, but he's gone, and right now we misprofile a lot of our players, and I think it does them disservice in playing a position that they're not comfortable with, nor they really want to play, or they're good at doing so. Like,
I think a perfect example of what you're talking about is I thought Akil Watts was pretty good last night.
Yeah.
And he was playing like a CDM role.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he plays the beautiful ball to Klein that sets up our goal on the counterattack. And
if you look at the postseason situation last year, one of the biggest flaws that was exposed was Akil Watts at right back.
Right. And I don't know if he would say that that's like his preferred position or not, but I think he probably likes to play in the midfield better too, because he looked more lively last night.
Yeah, I was very impressed with his performance last night.
Like you're saying, like Leuven. Leuven clearly does not want to play up.
He doesn't want to be a cam. He wants to be next to a CDM.
He is literally an 8, a box to box, and we're playing him so up high, thinking that he doesn't like it. You can tell that he's not comfortable.
I mean, he said it in interviews. He's like, I don't want to play that position.
And I think that's why we like played bad for this whole year. We're playing like we haven't we won 4 games.
3
this year.
That was 4.
Oh,
I mean, in the
San Jose was 4.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was 4.
Last year we won 5 in the first 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Because everyone was excited and everything, but now everyone seems like, I don't want to be doing this still.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully next year.
Well, yeah, man, it wears on you.
Hopefully
it wears
next
on
year.
us. That's why we're all desensitized to losing and playing poorly.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we get on here and jump on our soapbox and talk about things that need to be changed and better, when I watch St. Louis City lose, I'm not surprised at this point, and it doesn't move me
when I see
as
him
much
lose,
as it did at the beginning of the year when I was like, dude, we were good. What the fuck happened?
Yeah.
When I see him lose, I feel like a loser too. I go outside and I was like, turn on some Marvin's Room right now.
Go for a walk in the park.
I don't like it.
Yeah, and it's so. I mean, the craziest thing about this season to me is some of the teams that we hung with. We hung with Galaxy away from home to play to a 3-3 draw. We hung with Miami with Messi, with Suarez, with Busquets, with Alaba. Played to a 3-3 draw in Miami. We had good results this season, And we were never able to build on any of it, and it's just so disappointing.
I think we just carried the momentum from last year coming into this year.
At the end of the season.
Yeah, just like losing a lot. And he just unfortunately carried into this season.
Yeah.
And now I'm just waiting, counting the days down. Season's over.
I'm waiting for that new head coach announcement.
Yeah,
which
hopefully.
I'm excited. I really think a new head coach,
I hope
somebody who's going to fucking drill a winning mentality into this team and drill a formation that they can learn and go to. I think one thing that we've seen a lot of St. Louis do this season is right after we score, are incredibly shaky, lose all bearings of how we want to play defensively. That's why we conceded so many times right after we score.
Yeah.
And if it's because we change these formations so often, and there's no strong mentality.
I think it's a loss of focus in the team, and that comes with strong leadership from a managerial perspective and on the field. So I think that's partially on Tim Parker. I think it's partially on Leuven, as much as I think he's not so much the vocal leader that we might need on the pitch. But, like, I know Timmy P's out there yelling at people, but if it's not effective enough to get people back into the game after we score a goal and the emotions are high, like, you got to refocus really quickly, because the teams in this league, we may shit on the quality, but it's all pretty even playing field for all these teams. So if you're not on your game, you're going to get scored on pretty quickly.
I just hope we bring someone young and hungry as our
coach.
I don't want anybody past the age of 40.
Yeah, I agree. I want somebody with something to prove, man.
I think I want Michael Carrick.
Oh, really?
Former player. I think he's done well. I think Middlesbrough.
Mm-hmm.
I think try to get him to come here, try to prove something, that he could win something, but highly doubtful that he would come.
I don't think so. I don't think any of the European leagues respect what any of the American, like.
They Vieira came here and coached.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Nancy.
I think we
Yeah,
need someone
that's true.
who hasn't coached a big team yet in Europe
Yeah.
to prove that he can coach something. Coach here for a couple years.
Yeah.
And head out.
I think that's kind of the profile. That's how I expect the profile to be from.
It'll be a
Lutz.
Bundy too.
I don't
like-
think it's going to be some name that we all know really well. I think it's going to be somebody under the radar who, yeah, like you said, wants to prove something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like an assistant coach at like a Bundesliga side or a head coach of a Bundy 2 team that, somebody they fire at the end of the season that, Lutz knows the play style, knows what he wants to do with the squad, and knows that he'll like some of the players that we have. Because I thought that was like the biggest indictment of our firing of Carnell is the fact that we signed all of these players to kind of fit into his team. Like, I don't think he necessarily makes big decisions in terms of transfers, but they obviously run it by him, and they're like, you have a use for this man, right? And he's like, yes, I will find a place for him in my team.
That was always my biggest shock with the Carnell firing, is that we knew we had these players coming in, and I figured Carnell was going to get a chance to do something with them, but I mean, yeah, Carnell just didn't work out.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it is what it is. I think we're going to be better off without him come next season. Yeah. But we're an expansion side. I've had some talks with the elite MLS knowers, and they've all said, like, you don't know until they come out and do it.
Yeah.
They have to come out and do it, otherwise there really is no expectation of success.
Yeah.
So
you guys got anything else for today?
I was going to say Leagues Cup coming up. I have a feeling that we're going to do some coverage of Leagues Cup just because it feels like a necessity.
It's the only thing we can win.
It's the only thing that we can win. It's the first time we're going to be able to see Marcel Hartel. It's the first time we're going to be able to see these new signings have meaningful performances. So we're probably going to be doing some form of coverage on the Leagues Cup.
Yeah. Hopefully we win it.
That'd be sick. That would be the ultimate redemption of the season. But
I don't know if it would save the season.
It would
do
definitely save the season.
If we win Leagues Cup, we would be in for the Club World Cup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I cannot get on Twitter another day and go, "Where's your trophy at? I need a trophy.
I need something
soon."
The first place is no longer enough.
Because if we get that trophy, only another team got it. So I'm like, you don't got this too. So
new Kansas City slander material if we win. I see.
Zach is here. If you see this, debate me, or you're a fucking fraud.
He's calling you out.
Debate me, or
Debate
you're a fraud.
and a boxing match too.
And you'd
All
lose that.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Soul of the City. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let's hope that we can, at least pick up some form heading into the end of the year and get the positivity train rolling for the next season.
Need to come back.
Thank you all for tuning in.
Peace out.
Thank you for watching this episode of Soul of the City, brought to you by First Touch Media and Anchor FM. Make sure to check us out on YouTube at First Touch Media, and all of our socials are at First Touch 314. Thank you for watching.